Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to Tay TV. My video, I'm going to be reacting to people feel left behind and stuck in life. TikTok rants on life. Let's get into this video.
And I hope that you guys enjoy the video.
If you're feeling behind in life, listen up. I had a realization recently that completely reframed all of my thinking around feeling behind in life. So I currently am 34 years old, and the way my life looks and feels and is right now is exactly what my 24-year-old self wanted. Wasn't what my 24-year-old self envisioned for my 34-year-old self, but it was like what I wanted to be doing and where I wanted to be when I was 24. And at first I thought, I'm about a decade behind where I feel like I should be. And then I thought, am I a decade behind where I should be, or do some things just take longer than I think they should? Or that sometimes things in life just take longer than we anticipate, or longer than we think they should, or the route to get there is just a little bit more windy than we think it's going to be. But something taking longer than we think it should to come to fruition is not necessarily a negative reflection on us. We get time optimistic about how long it takes to get somewhere in the day. We think because it took us 30 minutes to get somewhere one time that it always takes 30 minutes to get there. And then what happens? We run into red lights, there's traffic, there's things that happen along the way that cause a delay in our trip. We probably experience this every day. I know I do, that's why I'm usually late. But life kind of works the same way. All that to say, you are not behind. Be nice to yourself. It's your first time doing this human thing. And sometimes things just take longer than we think they're going to. So enjoy the process while you're in it.
If you feel like you're falling behind in the race of life and others around you are outpacing you, remember, life is a marathon, not a sprint. Everybody's finish line looks different. You might be looking at other people and thinking to yourself, wow, this person's just racing through life, and you're just stood there thinking to yourself, what am I doing with myself? Guys, remember, looks are deceiving. Many people are in a rush to go nowhere. Our society today has placed a strong emphasis on the need for us to be competing with each other. The idea that's being promoted today is that if we're not competing with one another, then your chance of being successful or getting ahead in life is slim to none. If you're somebody that's very attentive, you actually see this happen right in front of your eyes. A lot of people, when they see somebody excelling or doing well in life, they find it so hard to congratulate that person or be happy for that person because many have adopted this mindset of competition. Now, some people, maybe they're even in your circle, they take it to the extreme. They don't even want to be successful for themselves. So long as they're doing better than you, life is fine. You buy a new car, they go and buy a new car. You buy a house, they go and buy a house. You go and get married, they go and package one hobo off the street and marry that person. If only we could all stay in our lane and remain focused on our own life. I'm not downplaying anybody's success, but what I am saying is that we never truly know what somebody's had to do or go through to get to where they are in life. Listen, if you and everyone around you were to all pour your hardships, struggles, setbacks, challenges that you faced or are currently facing into one giant bag for all to see, almost guarantee you that every single person right there would take all their problems out of that bag. Don't let anybody make you feel like you're behind in life. You're right where you're supposed to be. In this life, there are many ways to get to the same destination. Look at our transport system. Some walk, some take bus, others take train, some cycle, others drive. All of these modes of transportation, some of them are quicker than the other, but they still get you to the same destination. Look at what King Solomon says in Ecclesiastes 9:11. That the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise. Then he goes on to say that time and chance happens to them all. 90% of the time, the fastest person wins the race, or the strongest person wins the battle. You might feel as though you're behind in life because people around you are doing so much. They wake up earlier than you, they try harder than you, they have this sacrifice all to get ahead in life mentality, but that doesn't guarantee success. Look at what Solomon says in that last part. Time and chance happens to them all. God, in all his sovereignty, can just decide to level the playing field at any given moment. You may not have been working hard as somebody else, but God can just decide because of your obedience and your faithfulness in him to just exalt you. I am a firm believer that God presents opportunity to every single one of us. The question you ought to ask yourself is, how ready will you be when that opportunity presents itself to you? Hope you won't be too busy to be watching what somebody else is doing that you miss the opportunity being presented to you. Consistency is key. Your progress may be slow, but eventually over time, that progress can overtake somebody who's just racing through and doesn't have a clear picture of what they're trying to do. Slow and steady wins the race.
Early, if you are feeling behind in life right now, and I'm not talking like behind like you have a long to-do list, but behind like you're, oh my gosh, I'm freaking 30, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, I don't have my dream job, like I thought I'd be further ahead in life right now. Like if that's how you feel, I just have to tell you right now, I'm think you're always gonna feel that way. Like even when you get to the top, like even when you're the CEO or you're a famous actress or model, or you have the dream house, the dream family, because I feel like if you're a girly, that's like ingrained in your soul where like you constantly feel behind. I actually don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is like your drive, your desire to always like be better, and like you have the biggest dreams ever. I don't want to say you're never going to be happy, but like you're always going to want to get to the next thing. You're not behind, but that is actually that you just have like a really big purpose in this lifetime, and you have so much to accomplish, more than the average person. So you're probably always going to feel that way, because in your lifetime, you're going to accomplish what 100 people would accomplish. You're not behind, you just have really big dreams. You're right on time, sister. Keep trusting and know that God has like the most amazing plan for you, and it's going to happen on his timeline. You got this.
Am I the only person that feels like they're very behind in life? Like, I'm 24. I just graduated college in December. Instead of going into the workforce for like this 20-year career, I started cosmetology school. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. And I just keep seeing people around me who are like 24 and have their own business, or 24 and have families and are having kids. And I'm like, I'm still in college. Like, I'm not even on my career part yet, much less my family part yet. I just feel like I'm behind. Like, I show up to every place in life thinking like, shoot, like I wish I would have done this earlier. If I would have started when I was 15 on my cosmetology career, then maybe I could have this successful business at 25. Or if I would have started on having a boyfriend or being in a serious relationship or gotten my stuff together at 17, now maybe I could have had 2 kids and been a mom. Can any other people relate? I don't know. I just feel like I always feel behind, and I'm trying to reframe that. So if you've experienced feeling behind, let me know what's helped you in the comments, because I feel like this is probably a common struggle, especially with social media, being able to see all the amazing things that people are doing. Right. And instead of seeing those things and thinking, oh shoot, I'm behind, I want to start taking those things and saying, wow, look what's available for me. Instead of seeing someone who has a successful business at 24 and has 3 kids and works 5, I want to say, wow, that's so awesome that she accomplished this, and I don't feel behind. Her accomplishing something doesn't take away from my success, but actually it shows me that that's available for me, that that's possible for me. So
that feeling of lostness or feeling stuck or feeling behind that we sometimes feel in life is honestly just an illusion. I've noticed when I feel lost, when I feel stuck, when I feel behind in life, I'm so fixated on where my future is going, or I'm so fixated on the past and what I could have done to be in a better place in life, and in those negative emotions that we feel because of loss and feeling behind. I really think those feelings are there to show us that we need to focus on the fucking present. That's what that feeling is. Because what we're essentially doing when we have those thoughts of like, I'm feeling so behind in life, I'm so lost, I feel stuck. When you start identifying with those thoughts, it elevates or it expands that fixation on the future or the fixation on the past. It literally it takes you right out of the present moment. It literally takes you out of the present. And so what I'm doing is when I feel those moments of feeling lost or feeling behind, I have to remind myself that I'm focused way too much on time that is not tangible. The only tangible time that we have is now. And so when I have those thoughts, that's for me to recognize that, I need to be more present. I need to be more grounded in this moment, because what I'm worried about really doesn't even mean shit. Something that I've been telling myself is, in those moments where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life, I don't know where I'm going in my life, instead of letting that cause panic, I'm trying to reshape that as freedom, because the possibilities are endless. When you have that moment of like, I don't know where I'm going, you can go anywhere. That is freedom. But we attach that thought with fear. We attach that thought with failure when it's really freedom. We can do anything. And so when we have those moments of feeling stuck, feeling lost, or feeling behind, reshape your perspective. Instead of thinking you did something wrong or fixating on the past and the future, realize that this is a moment to be grounded in the now. Realize that this is a moment to be present. Realize this is getting your attention to be present. And understand the feeling of being behind is an illusion. That is not real. You can't be behind if you are exactly where you're supposed to be in this moment. Like, you can't be behind. When you have that thought of, I don't know where I'm going in life, I don't know what I'm doing in life, realize that is freedom, not fear and failure. It's freedom because the possibilities are endless.
I feel like if you're like me and you just turned like 30s, or you're in your early 30s, maybe you're in your 40s, and you feel like you're just starting life. Like right now, you know, a few months ago, I just started traveling and did some solo travels. And technically 3 years ago was the first time I've ever moved out. It's a very Filipino thing. And then a year ago is the first time I've ever lived on my own. And right now, actually, I'm starting up a new business, and it's young, it's a baby, and it's gonna take years before I even see profit in this. But I feel like there are times where I feel like I'm lagging behind. Sometimes I see and compare myself to other people who's like, oh, their business is doing well, or oh, they've traveled so many places, or oh, they've done so many things. And if this is like you, something I tell myself every day is that it's okay. It is not your fault you're lagging behind. Nobody's lagging behind in life. And also, maybe you were raised the same way as me, where I feel like I grew up where I wasn't allowed to do things. I wasn't allowed to build my confidence. I wasn't allowed to, like when I said I'm not allowed to do things, I get punished for doing things outside of what my parents want me to do. I get punished for the simplest mistakes, and I get it. And again, I'm not blaming my predecessors. They're just doing the best they can to the best of their abilities to raise kids. And also, again, we were poor growing up. So any kind of mistake it will cost money. So, and they just don't have the resources to do that. So punishment is always the best option so that you don't make that mistake again. So I kind of grew up thinking that I can't do a lot of things unless someone tells me to do them, because I'm scared to make mistakes for myself. So it is not your fault when some people early on has already left the race and is already like 5,000, 10,000 miles ahead of you, and you're still stuck in the starting line. But the craziest thing is that it feels so good to finally get out of that starting line. And it feels so good to understand that we are not in the same race. We are not even on the same track. And you have a life for yourself. And the moment you understand that, there is really no comparison. It's just the moment you get to do whatever you want. And the thing that I'm embracing the most right now is that fear of failure. Because when I really look back on everything, it's when I failed that I learned the most. So, you know, maybe start taking calculated risks, start failing little by little, you know, don't fail big and then you're like, But just that feeling of getting out of the starting line is so amazing. And sometimes when I look at my timeline, Jesus, I've really only lived on my own for like a year and a few months since my ex moved out. I've only been out of my parents' house for like almost 3 years. I need to be kinder to myself more. Like I didn't have all the other things that other people had earlier on. And it's okay to start small. It's okay to take these baby steps. It's okay when you fail. And it's okay that you don't have someone to fall back on when you fail. Fall back on yourself. You start to build an identity little by little. You start to find out your character little by doing this. It's so uncomfortable. Oh my God, the amount of the amount of inner narrative I have to silence because I'm like, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna be able to do this. But there's a lot of tools that can help. There is a lot. Like I just came back from a good meditation and it really just calms your nervous system down. And you realize that it's all in your head. It's all in your habitual patterns that you grew up in. And the moment you realize that, the moment you can rewire those systems into something else, you're gonna be okay. As I know I'm gonna be okay. And the future is so bright.
If you're the friend that feels left behind, please watch this video and read this article.
So I have experience from both sides of the spectrum, and I want to talk about it. I've been the friend that's felt completely left behind because I had friends who graduated college sooner than I did. I had friends who entered into long-standing relationships before I even entered my first. A lot of my friends were getting internships in their dream jobs much sooner than I was. And everyone was having kids really young. And I think because of all of the pressure that society puts on you to have your dream job, be married, and have children by the age of 25, it actually had me trying to meet that goal. And so when a lot of my classmates were meeting it much sooner than I did, I felt extremely behind. I actually remember going through a quarter life crisis at 25 because I wasn't married yet. I was only engaged. I didn't have kids because I had created this world in my mind based off societal expectations that I was supposed to be a marketing director at 25 with a wife, 2 kids, and a baby on the way. I was supposed to be living in New York City, and everything was just supposed to go the way that society tells you it's gonna go if you go to college and get a degree. That's not the way that it went for me.
They start winching you up, and you get to like 20 feet, and you're like, ooh, it's quite high. And then you keep going up, and suddenly you're at...
I don't have a problem with anyone who wants to go to college. If you want to go to college, go ahead and go to college. But me just doing YouTube, I'm working towards becoming just like my own boss, and I'm walking by faith and not by sight, and I'm aiming towards my goal, and I know I'm going to get there and be my own boss with my YouTube channel, and I'm going to make the best quality content for you guys, and I'm going to teach other people how they can better themselves and how they can be their own boss as well. So some things you got to be able to just see through.
Seeing everyone graduating ahead of me and essentially living what looked like their best lives, it made me feel like I was failing. It made me feel like I wasn't working hard enough or I wasn't doing enough, but I was literally taking 6 and 7 classes per semester.
It isn't a bad thing because it builds you up, it makes you stronger, and you look at life different. You see how people treat you when you're down at your lowest, and you see how people treat you when things is going good for you.
I was working full time. I had actually been in a long-term romantic relationship, but it never felt like it was enough because I didn't graduate with my first degree within that 4-year range that they tell you that you will once you go to college. I was supposed to graduate in 2011 and I didn't graduate till 2012. And so that last year that I was working on my degree, because I started college a little bit late because I just had some stuff happen. That last year, while my best friend at the time had graduated and was working for nonprofit organizations, and everyone in my degree program that had graduated prior to me were jumping into these amazing jobs with these amazing companies, I was just over here with my 2 full-time jobs, my 6 classes, and I was just what am I doing? And it was so interesting because as that was happening, like I said, I was in a romantic relationship. I actually dealt with a friend that was upset that I was in a romantic relationship because she didn't have as much time with me as she wanted. And I really wasn't in a place where I could fully receive what she was saying because I couldn't process it because I saw her literally every single day. I mean, we had almost all of the same classes. And of course, I'm gay, so my boyfriend was out of state. So it's not like I was actually seeing him in person. And I remember her telling me how upset that she was that I had moved forward in my life within that realm. And I just couldn't really process the fact that she was kind of grieving our friendship, even though it wasn't over and it wasn't gonna be over just because I'd gotten into a relationship. But we know a lot of people that get into relationships and then they just never call their friends or family ever again until it's over. So I do get it, but then at the same time, I'm you saw me 4 days a week, what's going on? And the same thing, actually, a similar thing happened to me when I was married and I started going through my divorce. All of my other friends at that point in time were either engaged or married with kids. And there I was going through a divorce. And so these situations, they didn't impact my perception of my friendships with people. For me, it was more so of an internal battle that I want to say was filled with disappointment because I'm oh my God, I'm sliding backwards. I'm getting divorced when I should be on child number 4. And so I think what helped me is realizing that like I just can't compare my timeline or my life to other people's, because we all have different situations, different things we've been through, and we all have different things that we're going to accomplish in whatever time that we're going to accomplish them. There's certain things that are meant for me that aren't meant for you, and vice versa. And so to constantly be comparing yourself to other people in such a competition mindset as if you're less than when you're really not, it's like super unhealthy. And I just had to realize what's for me will come for me in due time. That wasn't an easy thing to realize, because I really want to say up until maybe I was like 31 or 32 when I finally stopped comparing my timeline to that of other people's, because I had to understand, you know, I've lived a very specific life, so have other people, and to equate myself and what I've been through to someone else is doing myself a disservice. And so the one thing that I will suggest, if you are the friend that feels behind, or if you're the friend whose friends are telling you they feel left behind, is to really just kind of be able to listen, not just to the other parties, but to yourself, and try to have a true understanding of what is actually happening. Because a lot of the insecurities we have, it just comes from these ridiculous societal expectations that mean absolutely nothing and that no one should follow, because it hasn't really worked out that well for everyone. I mean, there are some people that are doing great, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm in my healing era, I feel great, but like, I just mean in the grand scale of things, like we're all like a second away from being broke and poor if we're not already. So don't compare yourself to other people. It's really not worth the stress.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but how can you be behind in your life if your life is only yours? You're only behind in your life if you're comparing yourself to other people. And why would you compare yourself to other people if their life is completely different to yours? Are you behind in yourself? Where's yourself going? You're yourself. You're not behind. You're just living your life how you want to live it. I think we all just need to stop caring about what other people think, what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself. You're doing you, and you're doing it amazingly. Cut yourself some slack. I think we all need to. I need to. We just need to love ourselves a bit more, because we're in this for life with ourselves the most. That's the most important relationship. Love you. Bye.
If you're in your 20s and you feel like you're behind in life, what if the reason why you feel like this is because you haven't yet fully grasped the fact that society, the media, capitalism thrives off our feelings, is literally built off our feelings of inadequacy. It is also obsessed with the idea that we should peak in our youth. Also, from a very young age, puts us in a race where we're picked up against each other based on our financial and academic achievements. The one thing that's guaranteed in your 20s is change. Everyone is changing around you in different ways and at different paces. Uncertainty is the new norm. When you pair that with the fact that media and society is obsessed with youth, comparison, insecurities and inadequacies, why would we not feel lost? Literally, why would we not feel lost? For proof that you're not behind, imagine watching an Olympic race where there are people running on two different tracks, but they're racing against each other. Two different tracks of different sizes, different lengths. This is literally how we're programmed to live our lives, racing against people that aren't even on the same track as us. You don't have the same finish line or start line. We all want different things, all gonna finish at a different unknown time. So whose race are we actually racing? I promise you, your best lives are not behind you. I promise you that there are things, even little things, that you can acknowledge and celebrate now that will make you realize that there's hope. Promise you have the power to change what you consume and fight back against the toxic messages that tell us that we peak in our mid-20s. Even the people that you follow for inspiration, like, ask yourself, do you actually feel uplifted and motivated after listening to them? Or are you subconsciously, every time you consume their content, you just validate that belief you have inside yourself? That is too late. You're too behind. Please unlearn the conditioning that you need to meet other people's standards, because otherwise you're just going to feel deflated before you even try anything.
That is it for today.
This was a good video. Basically some of the points that I got while watching is that what these people said, they was comparing their lives to other people, their friends, but they said, this is my life, our lives are different. We have different goals, different dreams, and we're not at the same finish line. But I'm glad that they said, let me just focus on me, stop comparing myself and my life to other people, because we're all different at the end of the day. This is it for today's video. Thank y'all.